You know, an area like this can just be so overwhelming, and you know, if a person fishes in here real slow and tries to hit every, you know, 3 feet of this thing, it could take them all day just to fish it. And you know, once you've determined that that's the key area, that's great. But you know, sometimes that's the case, but a lot of times, majority of the time, that's not it. And you know, once you found those areas, that's a good thing to do. But you know, when I'm going down through this, you know, if this grass bed's got a lot of fish in it, typically these little key ambush spots are going to be the ones that are going to hold fish. You know, if I get in here and get bit off each one of these little key ambush spots, then I'm going to start working more of the, let's say, not as likely spots around it. But you know, I'm not going to go through a whole bay and hit every possible spot where there's a fish, because it'll take me all day. So you know, like along this grass edge here, you know, there's, you know, these little subtle points, and those are the places that those fish are going to be. You know, like on this little point right here, there's some shade on it. You know, if you actually look at it, there's a little more shade there than the rest of the grass. You know, here is a prime spot right across the tip of this point right here is, you know, a prime spot to get bit. One, because it's a point. You know, no matter what, whether it's a rocky bank with a point on it, or if it's a piece of grass with a point on it, it's still a point. If I'm going down a long bank like this and I get 1 or 2 bites in an area, and then I go, let's say, 200 yards without a bite, and then I get another bite or two, you know, I might, you know, depending on how thorough I want to be in that area, I might go back to them. And you know, something that you got to be real careful about is you don't want to be sticking fish in you know, your tournament areas. You want to be saving them until it counts. And you know, I'm going to go back through those areas, and you know, I might cut the hook off on my bait and just go back to those areas and see where I can get bit. But what I do is just kind of start circling around that initial strike to see maybe how big of a concentration of fish that is, just to kind of see, you know, if I can get bit, if I slow down fish in that same area. And that kind of helps me determine, you know, it might just be an isolated patch where I got 1 bite and not ever get another bite around that whole area. And that kind of tells you then I just need to keep the trolling motor on a higher speed and keep covering water, because the fish are scattered and it's just a matter of covering water. But there might be a time where this little 50-yard stretch might have 10 or 15 fish on it, and you know, that's the only place you're going to get bit. So by slowing down and really picking the place apart, then you kind of know that that's the key spot. Instead of picking this whole bay apart, you're just going to pick apart that little patch, and that's going to, one, save you time, and also help you you kind of consolidate that area. You know, one thing, like, you know, something else on a bay like this is here you've got this bay, and you know, we're kind of mid-morning now, and you can see by now for a couple hours that this sunny part of the bay had sun on it. You know, we're in the summertime, so you know, the fish really aren't relating to the warm stuff. They want shade. And as you work down through here, boom, we get to this isolated, you know, great big laydown tree. That's going to be a spot that I'm going to make a few extra casts at, because you know, it stands out, kind of comes out into the middle of the bay. That's going to be the type place where, you know, could have several fish, or might have 1 big fish hanging out in it. But then, you know, the stuff that really stands out to me here is you get around this bay, and boom, we get more on the eastern side of this. It's mid-morning, but we've still got some shade over here. So to me, these patches of grass are probably going to be more likely to have fish in them still, because it's cooler. I know these great big areas like this can be overwhelming, and you know, you just don't know where to start, but don't let them intimidate you. Just get in there, cover water. Once you get a few bites, start to focus on where you've gotten your bites, and you know, hopefully you'll catch a few more fish.